there are moments in your life when your heart feels heavy, when the world becomes loud, and when your thoughts begin to run faster than your ability to calm them. And sometimes in those moments, you pause for a second and ask yourself, where do I go with all of this? Who do I turn to? And often, without realizing it, your soul already knows the answer. It whispers softly, raise your hands, speak to Allah, make dua. Dua is not just words. It is not just a request. It is not an escape. Dua is a return to the one who knows your tears before they fall, your fears before you name them, your hopes before you gather the courage to articulate them. Dua is the moment when your qalb finally admits what it has carried for too long. And in that admission, there is healing. Have you ever felt that quiet tremor in your chest when you whispered something only Allah could hear? That slight shaking inside you, a mix of vulnerability and surrender, that is dua working on you. Not only changing what is written for your life, but changing you, your mindset, your habits, your emotional patterns, your inner landscape. Dua opens doors that action alone cannot, and dua transforms hearts in ways that effort alone cannot. Think for a moment. How often do you rely on your own strength? How often do you plan, struggle, push, worry, try again, fall again, and then finally, when you have nothing left, make dua? But imagine if dua wasn't your last step. Imagine if dua became your first move. How different would your days look? Your reactions, your sense of peace, your sense of purpose. Dua realigns you. It grounds you. It purifies your naya. It softens your ra. It shifts your internal dialogue from I must do everything alone to I am supported by the Lord of the worlds. And that shift, subhanallah, changes everything. You know, sometimes when people talk about personal growth or self-improvement or building a better mindset, they forget the spiritual root. But you cannot grow if your heart is disconnected. You cannot find inner peace if your soul is restless. And you cannot live with intentionality if your source of strength is unstable. Dua brings you back to your foundation. And when your foundation is Allah, everything in your life becomes anchored. Think of someone you know who truly lives with inner peace. Someone who reacts calmly, someone who carries hope even in difficult moments, someone who walks with quiet confidence, not because life is perfect, but because their heart is steady. If you look closely at their life, you will often find one consistent habit. They make dua frequently. They speak to Allah with sincerity. They confide in Him. They seek Him. And in doing so, they receive a peace that no self-help book can offer, no motivational talk can replicate, no worldly achievement can replace. Dua gives you clarity. It helps you understand what truly matters. When you sit with yourself, raise your hands, and speak honestly, you are forced to strip away distractions. You are forced to reveal your priorities. You say things like, why Allah guide me? Why Allah protect me? Ya Allah, purify my heart. These are not random requests. These are the deepest desires of a soul longing for alignment. Have you noticed how dua slows you down? How it demands presence? How it invites you to reflect? When you make dua, you cannot be rushed. You cannot be distracted. Your heart has to be engaged. Your mind has to be attentive. And that presence, this stillness, becomes a form of healing. Because in a world that constantly pushes you to move, dua teaches you to pause. In a world that loves noise, dua brings silence. In a world that values productivity, dua reminds you of purpose. Sometimes what you ask for through dua does not arrive immediately, and sometimes what you beg Allah for feels delayed. And in those moments, you might wonder, is He listening? Is He aware? Does He know how much this matters to me? And the answer always is yes. He is Al-Sami, the one who hears every whispered word. He is Al-Basir, the one who sees every trembling heart. And He is Al-Hakim, the one whose timing, whose wisdom, whose planning is always perfect. But here is something many people overlook. Even when Allah is delaying the response, He is not delaying the transformation. The moment you raise your hands, you begin to change. Your mindset shifts from fear to trust. Your heart shifts from impatience to reliance. Your attitude shifts from despair to hope. And your spirit shifts from heaviness to surrender. So sometimes the dua is answered in the moment. And sometimes you become the answer while you are waiting. And maybe you have felt this before. You may dua for strength, and instead of waking up strong the next morning, you found yourself becoming braver day by day. You made dua for healing, and instead of suddenly feeling light, you noticed your heart becoming softer, kinder, more forgiving. You made dua for clarity. And instead of receiving the answer immediately, you found your thoughts becoming calmer, more organized, more intentional. This is how dua works. Not only changing your circumstances, but changing you so you can handle your circumstances with wisdom, maturity, and inner peace. And I want you to pause here and ask yourself, when was the last time I made sincere dua? Not rushed, not distracted, but heartfelt, honest, present. When was the last time I spoke to Allah with the vulnerability He already knows exists inside me? Because sometimes we get busy, we get overwhelmed, we get lost in the noise of life, and our dua becomes an afterthought. But Allah does not treat you as an afterthought. He is always near, always listening, always inviting you back to Him. So let me ask you, what is that one thing you have been carrying quietly for too long? What is that worry sitting in the back of your chest? What is that hope you keep postponing? What is that mistake you keep replaying? What is that fear that keeps tightening your breath? Bring it to dua. Bring it to the one who can change what you cannot. Bring it to the one who understands what you cannot explain. Bring it to the one who holds the keys to ease, relief, clarity, forgiveness, provision, healing, all of it. Dua is not limited by your circumstances. Dua is not intimidated by your challenges. Dua is not restricted by what seems impossible. Because dua connects you to Allah, and Allah can turn the impossible into reality in a moment. But He also knows when your heart needs time, when your growth needs space, when your journey requires patience. And in His wisdom, He answers you in the most perfect way. And maybe right now you're thinking, but I've made dua for years. I've cried. I've begged, I've pleaded, and still nothing has changed. But Dost, something has changed. You have changed. Your heart has matured. Your resilience has strengthened. Your awareness has deepened. Your relationship with Allah has grown. Sometimes the journey of dua is not about receiving what you asked for. It is about becoming the person who is ready for what you asked for. And when that moment comes, when your dua meets Allah's perfect timing, you will look back and realize that the delay was never a denial. It was preparation. It was protection. It was protection. It was purification. It was Allah rearranging your life in ways you did not see so that you could receive your dua at the best moment, not just the earliest one. Dua also teaches you humility. It reminds you that you are not in control of everything. It reminds you that strength is not found in independence, but in dependence on the most merciful. And that humility is not weakness. That humility is empowerment. Because when you admit your limitations before Allah, He strengthens you in ways you could never strengthen yourself. And as you continue making dua consistently, sincerely, wholeheartedly, you begin to notice something subtle but transformative. Your tawakkul grows. Your reliance deepens. You begin to walk through life with a softness in your eyes, a calm in your breath, a steadiness in your heart. Not because life becomes easier, but because you become more connected. And this is how dua changes your life. Quietly, gently, consistently, not with grand fireworks, not with dramatic moments, but with steady transformation, with inner realignment, with spiritual grounding, with emotional clarity, with purpose, with peace. Pause here, breathe, and ask yourself, what duas have shaped me without me even realizing it? What duas do I need to return to? What duas do I need to begin? Because the moment you ask, you begin to change. When you begin to understand how dua shapes your life from within, you start to treat it differently. You no longer make dua casually or only when something goes wrong or only when you feel overwhelmed. Instead, dua becomes a daily companion, a form of nourishment, a source of clarity, a way of keeping your qalb alive. Because a heart that does not make dua slowly becomes hardened. It becomes distracted. It becomes occupied with everything except what truly matters. But a heart that makes dua stays soft, stays aware, stays connected. And subhanallah, a connected heart is a protected heart. Think for a moment. What distracts you the most in your life? Is it stress? Is it comparison? Is it the opinions of others? Is it the fear of the future? Or is it simply the business of your daily responsibilities? Every one of us struggles with something. Every one of us carries burdens that others may not see. But dua has a way of dissolving those burdens little by little until they no longer crush you. You may still have responsibilities. You may still have challenges. You may still have uncertainties. But dua creates emotional space inside you so those challenges no longer suffocate your spirit. You know those moments when everything feels tight, when your chest feels heavy, when your thoughts become tangled, when you wish you could press pause on life because everything is just too much. In those moments, raise your hands, whisper even a few words. Say, why Allah, you see, you understand. Please make this easy. And see how your breath slows. See how your heart softens. See how the tightness loosens. Because the moment you turn to Allah, you are no longer carrying it alone. The world may not change in that instant, but you begin to change. And sometimes that change is all you need. This is why dua is one of the most powerful tools for mindset, motivation, personal growth, and inner resilience. Because it teaches you to shift your perspective. It reminds you that you are part of something bigger, guided by someone wiser, supported by someone merciful. And here is something profoundly, dua teaches you to hope again. So many people walk through life with broken hope. They have experienced disappointment, betrayal, loss, or hardship. And slowly, they stop expecting good things. They stop dreaming. They stop believing that relief is possible. They stop imagining a future where peace is real. But dua revives hope. Dua whispers to your heart that tomorrow can be better, that healing can happen, that joy can return, that Allah can open doors even when every sign says they are closed. Dua teaches you that nothing is too heavy for the one who created your heart. And maybe right now, there is a part of you that has stopped hoping for something. A part of you that quietly tells yourself, it's too late, or it's too hard, or that's not for me anymore. But Dost, if Allah placed a longing inside you, He did not place it there to break you. He placed it there to bring you closer to Him, to make you reach for Him, to make you call upon Him more sincerely, to make you purify your intentions, to make you grow. Dua is not only about receiving. Dua is about becoming more grateful, becoming more patient, becoming more trusting, becoming more aware, becoming more spiritually grounded, and most importantly, becoming more connected to the one who controls your destiny. And this connection, this bond between you and Allah, becomes your greatest strength. It becomes the core of your emotional health, your inner peace, your ability to move through life with resilience. Sometimes when I speak to people, they tell me, I feel disconnected, I feel numb, I feel spiritually distant. And I tell them gently, return to dua. Not once, not for a moment, but consistently, because connection is built through repetition, through consistency, through presence. You don't have to make long duas. You don't have to use eloquent words. You don't have to speak in a certain way. Allah does not judge how beautiful your sentences sound. He looks at how sincere your heart is. You can simply say, why Allah, guide me, and that dua alone can change the entire trajectory of your life. Because if Allah guides your steps, your heart, your choices, your habits, everything follows. Ask yourself now, what habit do I need guidance in? What mindset do I need to shift? What fear do I need help releasing? What weakness do I need strength to overcome? What wound do I need healing for? Bring all of it into dua. Sometimes people think they need to be perfect to make dua. They feel unworthy. They feel sinful. They feel flawed. They feel embarrassed to turn to Allah after so many mistakes. But Allah never told you to come to Him perfect. He told you to come to Him. That's it. Your imperfections do not distance you from Allah unless you allow them to. Your mistakes are not barriers. Your sins are not walls. The only barrier is a heart that stops calling upon Him. And this is why dua is a mercy. Because even when you feel broken, you can make dua. Even when you feel ashamed, you can make dua. Even when you feel lost, you can make dua. Even when you feel weak, you can make dua. And the most beautiful thing, Allah responds in ways you see, in ways you don't see, in ways you understand, in ways you do not yet understand. Think about your life right now. Think about the moments of ease you experienced unexpectedly, the opportunities that came suddenly, the harm that missed you, the strength you found during a difficulty, the calm that appeared in a chaotic moment. These were dua being answered quietly, gently, subtly. So many blessings in your life began with a dua you may have forgotten. And that should increase your trust, your tawakkul, your belief that Allah does not ignore a single request that leaves your heart. And yes, you may not always receive exactly what you asked for, but Allah will always give you exactly what you need at the moment you need it most. Because His knowledge is complete, His mercy is infinite, His wisdom is perfect. Dua also shapes your identity. When you make dua frequently, you begin to see yourself as someone who seeks Allah's guidance, who trusts Allah's plan, who relies on His mercy. And this identity, this spiritual self-image, creates emotional strength. A person who believes Allah is with me walks differently, breathes differently, responds differently, lives differently. And I want you to ask yourself now, how do I want my identity to be shaped? Do I want to be someone who lives with purpose, clarity, and inner peace? Someone who carries a soft heart, someone who is guided by Allah in every decision. If the answer is yes, then start with dua. If you want to break a bad habit, make dua. If you want to develop discipline, make dua. If you want to purify your intentions, make dua. If you want to let go of resentment, make dua. If you want to deepen your relationship with Allah, make dua. If you want to transform your heart, make dua. Let dua be your constant companion. Let it be the anchor of your mornings, the comfort of your evenings, the calm of your storms, the clarity of your confusion. Because there is nothing in your life, nothing, that dua cannot improve, reshape, soften, or redirect. So today, I want you to choose one dua, just one. Something your heart has been holding, something your soul whispers late at night, something you want to change, and I want you to commit to making that dua with sincerity every single day. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know the future. You don't have to understand how it will work. Just ask, just begin. Because every transformation starts with a single sincere dua. And finally, remember this. Allah loves when you ask. He loves your voice. He loves your sincerity. He loves your trust. You are never a burden to Him. You are never an interruption. You are never coming too often. He is always there, always listening, always responding in the best way. So return to Him. Speak to Him. Ask Him. Rely on Him. And let dua change your life. Quietly, beautifully, profoundly. And if this message touched your heart, then share it with someone who needs hope today. And subscribe for more content that nurtures your soul, strengthens your purpose, and guides your heart toward intentional, conscious, spiritually aligned living.